push notification.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had anyone sign up to speak? No. Jim, please join us and give us an update on our local labor monitoring.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here. I hope Kevin is okay.
Yeah, Kevin's doing well. On vacation this week. So
Better than him.
somewhere in Europe. I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere in Europe.
He's doing real well.
Yes. Well, he needed some time off, so. All right, so this report covers site visits between July 1st, July 31st. We made 71 site visits. We had to make 5 follow-up visits. Checked the residents with 469 workers. Of those, there were 6 non-compliant. So there was 4 no proof of residence, 2 out of area, and the 2 out of areas were removed from the site. The 4 proof of residence were followed up and corrected. So as of July 31st, all sites are in compliance, and we delivered 2 new signs to Lemke Real Estate and 120 Marina Drive.
And USRE managed out is at 71.2%. They're over their 70% objective.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Jim, any questions?
Maybe not for Jim, but for the board. Hampton Inn, I did communicate with Kevin. There's 2 waivers over there by the Museum of Clay job, the hotel. Do we know of the waivers specifically in a trade?
I don't know, those would go through Brian and.
I did talk to Kevin on Thursday, I was given a heads up over on that project, and Kevin said Loki was there Thursday. And this might be another instance where Loki Row is here, okay, but 2 buses dropped off labor there Friday and Monday.
Okay.
And this is the hotel or the museum?
This is a hotel, I want to say Hampton Inn.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thanks very much, Jim.
All right, no problem.
Jay reminds me that we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. It's not easy.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any additional questions, changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Ryan McDonald, local labor exemption.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so today I have 4 local labor exemptions to report on. They were processed in July. I got it. I found it. You had sent it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, first one we're going to talk about today is related to the Tight Conductor DEV1 LLC project, which essentially is, I believe, the warehouse out near Lycycle. So this exemption was related to actually the crane operator that was working at the site there. The local union site did not have anyone other than this one person who was able and experienced on this crane. And he was a member of the local, but he resided outside the local area, the local labor area. So that was the first one. Any questions on that?
Did we do adequate testing?
Yeah, I mean, I had to go through the union. The union hall didn't have anybody else available. Period. Yeah. Their full employment didn't have anybody else who had the requisite experience on that crane. Okay, so the second one is related to the Lycycle North America Hub project. This was for the provision and installation and setup of the truck scales at the site there. This project did go through Robex, and they spoke with Manning Squires in Henning locally. I think they spoke with one other, who at Rochester Scale. Neither of them ended up bidding on it. They were able to award the project to Brady Systems, which believe that they have enough local folks to provide all local labor for this. However, they submitted this waiver in case, to be proactive, in case they had to bring in a crew member from outside of the area if somebody dropped off or they needed a substitute that was from outside. So we went ahead and approved that if it's necessary. I don't think it's going to be necessary.
Brian, why did you get any insights on why the 2 contractors, Manning and
Yeah, I think it was more so the timing of the project than anything. They did reach out multiple times, as I mentioned, to Manning, Squires, and Rochester Scale.
how quickly were they looking to get this installed?
I'm not sure of the installation date, but this did go through the Robex site as well, so everybody locally had an opportunity on it. I'm not sure when the final installation date is.
The nature of my question was much more that when they put it up on Robex, was it a reasonable timeframe? They weren't putting it up and saying, we're looking for bids to have it installed next week.
No.
When they, being facetious with it, but I'm trying to get at, once again, was this a fair?
So as a reminder, I just have to jump in, we only require bids go up 2 weeks prior to the start of the work.
It's not the 2 weeks of the bid. It's in the bid where they say, let's say they put the bid up today, they were gonna leave it up 2 weeks and say, we need it installed by September 15th.
They could do that.
So they certainly could. All I'm saying is, if they knew about these scales a long time ago, once again, you can influence the bid by not, by limiting the timeframe. And if, depends what your goal is. If your goal is to get the most bids, you want to put that bid up a month, 2 months in advance, so you get more contractors bidding. If I'm trying to reduce the number of contractors bidding, I'm going to put that up. You know, I know Rachel's contracting has availability, I'm going to put it up on Rodex with a short as time frame for delivery because I know your availability. That's all I'm trying to get at.
I understand.
So that's why what I was trying to get at with, right, not that they had it up 2 weeks, but was
Right.
it?
If we're concerned about that, we should look at our local labor policy.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yes.
Because if the rules say they can do that, and they do it, then we can't say anything. So we should review the rules and say, maybe we need more time.
Completely agree with you. I just want to, like, once again, make sure that a fair shake is given. And I just was trying to find out, was that the case here? or not?
I do have a little information for you.
Yeah,
It was posted in Rovex. It was sent over for posting to Rovex in April,
okay.
okay? And now we're in July and work hasn't started, so I don't think that's the issue with this one. But I see.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I just wanted to make sure that's what I was trying to
But
get
what phase is this one? Is this the recycling scale? Is this the warehouse scale? Or is this the hub scale? Which phase are we talking about? I say that because you're not gonna put in a truck scale on a construction site that could possibly be damaged. That's gonna be one of the last things to be installed. So to your point, Jay, is the timing. Is this a waiver for what's gonna happen? Because I'm seeing hub, that's the big one.
Yes.
So we haven't even broken, we've just started thinking about pouring footers. This install's not gonna be until next year.
Yeah, I think I don't have the date. That's a great question. I don't have the exact date.
But Troy, even if that's the case, it's still plenty of time for,
But it's not no local labor available if we're talking, we're looking at a year from now. This is
But
local labor
wouldn't the
today.
contract for the award indicate to the contractor when they would need the waiver?
yes, should, absolutely.
That's why I'm asking which
Right.
phase of this, this will not be.
Because they would know, if it's in 6 months, they're gonna know, they have it, even though they don't today, they
No.
have it.
They're not gonna be ready for the
But
scale.
for this one, again, Brian, you said that Brady Systems, they're only going to use it if necessary.
If necessary.
And if one,
I think they might need one person in the notes I see here. They might need one person for the final calibration and certification of the truck scale with Monroe County weights and measures. They may need one person because they have a specific heavy-duty truck that they use for that calibration. They might need to bring in a driver for that truck from Syracuse.
Could we put that in here? That it's subject to one? 'Cause right now it's open, it's a local
this
labor.
is these are the waivers that have been granted.
If it's only one person, it should have been in there. Because we've opened the door now to have.
I don't think they limited themselves to only one person. You know, the way that it was expressed to me is they believe they have a full local crew. They don't think they're gonna need anybody from outside of the area, but they did this proactively in case they do. And they mentioned one specific concern was that heavy-duty truck driver from Syracuse. So you're right, it's somewhat open-ended.
And it has the specialized construction, which we reviewed over and over, that this is warranty, specialty and warranty. If it had one person, I know that coming down the pipe, we're gonna see this again on a warranty waiver. I think it was Fabcon again. So it's coming. When are we going to start enforcing the apprenticeship language for specialty and warranty?
So the apprenticeship is on the warranty, only not on specialty. And then as far as monitoring this particular install, remember, we do have Loki Road going there. And so if we learn that there are a number of people, now they have a waiver, but we'll be able to monitor Brady systems installed with our other third party, which is Loki Road.
So would the governance committee be willing to entertain putting specialty language inside the apprenticeship language to cover this in full?
I think we need to, rather if we can call the governance committee to take a look at the local labor policy for
Multiple.
several things that we're going to want to clarify.
It's interesting when you look at some of these that are out there in the future. And at this point, we go ahead and grant the waiver, or they've already been granted. It's 12 months out before they start construction and excavation on them. So it might not go. Maybe we're just letting it go too far out there in terms of advance. They're doing it for safety's sake. Well, we don't think, that we're gonna have the labor to do this. And as was mentioned, the workforce is gonna vary between now and a year from now, when there may be local labor available.
But it's, if the opportunity was given, and it was given with sufficient time, that's just kind of the nature of the business. You're proposing on things that are in the future, and you've got to take your best crack at it.
Even if you're away.
It happens. It happens.
But I'll continue on with the next one is a life cycle.
That's
Again,
the one I was talking about.
no local labor available, when in fact it wasn't no local labor available. It was local contractors being asked to bid the job, only labor, no materials. That, to number 3's exemption, that's what happened. It wasn't no local labor available. It was the no willingness of local contractors to bid to MasTech to do these with labor only and no material. So they're assuming the responsibility of the material being supplied to them. They're going to handle that material, put it in the hole. The warranty follows that because they perform the work. Local contractors refuse to bid this job because of the way MasTech is designing. This is going, if this exemption and when this exemption, it sounds like it's already gone through, the floodgates for life cycle, it's just begun. This is going to happen on every single bid. It's coming.
That's what we need to look at, because what Troy brings up is absolutely true. And we're seeing that because of the supply chain issues. There's the contractor has to warranty the product. If the material is not within their control, there's a nervousness. They're taking on a liability when, if I can't control the material, but I've got to provide the labor and still warranty everything. If somebody provides me material that is inferior or stuff that I'm not familiar with, that really puts someone in a tough spot. So it's, while they can go through and advertise it, it's not a traditional bid, and it really limits who you're getting to bid. If I were a developer, I would want as many bids as possible because that ensures I'm going to get the best price. If I'm looking to only get one bid, there's various methods I can use to do that. And I think that's what we want to look at. I think that's Troy's concern as well as mine.
Right, understood. And just to add on, it's our understanding that there are discussions with one of the big local contractors to come to an agreement on all concrete going forward.
Yeah, again, a little bit of background on your discussion. The issue here, I jumped on a conference call between the big local contractor in Life Cycle in MasTech. They discussed that, so this next one that we're talking about here is for building 510. They have 3 similar buildings. They have 410, 510, 610. First one that's going to be done is 510, which is the one that we're talking about. All three were on Robex. The large local company declined to bid on 510, okay? Because of, my understanding is because of the pricing structure of the bid. They were asking for a price per volume, price per yard, rather than a lump sum. They're not used to bidding on that, so that was their first hesitation. Their second hesitation was the timing. They didn't think they had the labor available because this one was happening first, fairly soon. They didn't think that they had the labor available for that. To piggyback on what Troy and you guys were talking about, the thing that MassTech is providing is the rebar. The local company is providing all of the other concrete products and such, it's the rebar. Okay, so going forward, the solution of the conference call that I was on is that the large local company agreed if MassTech changed their pricing structure to move toward lump sum, that they would bid on the next two, building 410 and 610. Okay, so the way that they left it, the local is going to submit a bid, it's going to be a lump sum, and the provision of the supplies, the rebar, is going to be the same as this one.
Yeah, and I'm okay with the rebar because steel is a huge issue. So the fact that MassTech has
Yes.
it is, unless, if it was the concrete, that's a different
Yeah,
story.
it's
So
not the concrete, so
that's-
it's the rebar.
It makes a lot of sense.
Thanks for clarifying.
So in this instance, MassTech is going to self-construct it themselves. Because they didn't, at the end of the day, the local folks, and again, they spoke with multiple locally, three of the largest ones who could provide that volume, and they all declined to bid. And Lifecycle agreed to change their pricing structure reluctantly to a lump sum, and make those necessary changes so that they can get a local to do it. And those should be due soon. I'm not sure where they stand, but the big contractor said they were going to bid it, the other two.
The other two,
The other
not
two
five,
buildings.
but not 510.
Not 510, they couldn't, it was too fast of a turnaround. They didn't think they had a large enough crew for it.
So Brian, I applaud you for at least digging into that.
Yep.
As we said, when you see a project of this size and no local contractors bidding, that's a flag, so that's good.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to
Appreciate
jump right
your
on the
call.
conference call with them, so I don't want to have the third hand.
Okay, how about Fairview at Town Center?
Fairview at Town Center, that's the last one. They have a local siding contractor. But the local siding contractor for this time period and the size of this job, they don't have a local crew to service it. They have an out-of-town crew that they suggested to bring in to do this work because they can't find any others local. I mean, the contractor itself is local, but they don't have a large enough
6 buildings.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we did decide on the life cycle issues and subsequent issues that we would convene the governance committee to just evaluate our timing and decision for the budget. Any other questions for Brian? All right.
Just they've been pretty transparent, haven't they, compared to others?
I think they've been very transparent. We've met with them bi-weekly. They walk us through everything. I do like the way that they provide us for every one of the exemptions that they submit. They provide a very detailed chronological memo that says, today we called so-and-so contractor. And they provide a lot of background information, which allows me, right, makes it easier for me to do my due diligence. It wasn't without hiccups in the beginning, right? And I think we had some, Robex things that they had to work out, but it seems like it's been transparent. It seems like it's, working much better.
Okay, anything else for Brian? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let's see, Greg is not with us today, and Greg gave you some notes on an update on our financial.
Apologies, he's sick, we're on his way to urgent care, but, gave me his bullets, if you don't mind, I read on his behalf. Cash is up 1.3 million from year end. More money has been received that has been expended to date due to strong fee income. The workforce fund is 2.79 has been allocated. 289,000 is from fee income received in 2022. To date, only the $400,000 has been earmarked for the one program. Prepaid expenses made up mainly of PTAC and the county comprehensive plan that spans 2 years. The balance in accounts payable is mostly the second quarter from Empower and the Empower Healthcare invoices. Accrued liabilities is mainly made up of accrual for half of the annual county contract. Fee income, still a healthy month, but smaller than previous months. We anticipate a large project closing this month. Fee income has already exceeded the budget for the year. For program and community development, the Empower has incurred $144,000 of expenses this calendar year, and we've accrued approximately $41,000 for July, the placeholder until we receive the third quarter invoice in October. We received the final invoice for the Empower Healthcare program that ended 6/30/22, and the total expenditure is $158,000. $41,000. We had approved $200,000, and they spent $158,000 of that. And the last bullet, COMIDA continues to be in a strong financial position.
So that was sort of a mix of the financial position and the dashboard.
Yeah.
So
I know, as I was reading it, I was thinking that along.
yeah. On the fees that are paid to date, versus those that are still outstanding, that's quite a gap, right? I guess we're not concerned about it.
No, we have two very large projects in the pipeline. One that's hopeful to close this month. It's looking like September. There's some approvals held up at the state level. And the other, anyone's guess, but it's two very large projects.
But any questions for Robin? Okay, Robin. All right, let's go ahead and jump in on our applications. And the first one is Victory Express.
I can read on behalf of Victory Express Inc., a trucking company specializing in moving large freight across multiple states, is constructing a new 20,000 square foot facility in the town of Shiloh. This new facility will allow for improved operating efficiency as the existing facility does not meet current needs. New maintenance garage doors will be included so vehicles can be serviced on site. Victory Express plans to create one new FTE in addition to its existing 8 FTEs. The $4.8 million project is seeking a real property tax abatement, mortgage reporting tax, and sales tax exemption. The cost benefit ratio is 7-to-1.
Okay, do we have a representative here to elaborate? Can you give us your name and your position?
Yep, I'm Stephen Ventoni, I'm the Vice President. Good afternoon, everyone. So we've been established since 2005. We grew from one truck operation, my dad started it, and now we're up to 20, and we look to keep it go higher. Our main struggle right now is honestly the space. We have around 38 trailers and about an acre, and we just need more space. Alongside that, we just need people in the office. Most of the problems that we have, we need HR, someone in compliance. All those problems are on my brothers and I's shoulder, and kind of hard to do your job when you're doing another job, you know? So we were thinking, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to get people in the office, teach some people how to do our jobs, and that'll pull some off us, and we'll do our job better.
What's the geographical area?
Oh, we go to the northeast, then we go down to Texas. We go as far as Laredo, Texas.
So it's a nice new facility that
Yes.
you're constructing that should give you more space, allow you to do some additional hiring.
Yep. Adequate for now.
So, and the town of Shiloh has sent us a support letter on this. Any other questions? Christina? Okay. All right, there was a public hearing held on this project on August 11th, Rachel. No comments, no comments. And I'll ask you some local labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
That's correct.
And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at
That's
this time? And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
That is correct.
Pardon?
No.
Are you aware that exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
That's correct.
Yes.
I wasn't hearing the question correctly.
Okay, thank you. The secret process is complete, and now we'll move forward with the reading of the resolution. Okay, great. So it's been moved and seconded that we will read the resolutions in our packets. We will wait for reading of those resolutions. So now I'll ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving the real property tax abatement, mortgage reporting tax, and sales tax exemptions. Moved by Joe. Seconded by Lisa. Any other comments, questions? I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Troy?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yes.
Brett? And Ian is a yes, so that's unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I appreciate it, everybody.
Success to you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Resolution.
Just a little bit. I apologize everybody for being late today. The broadband task force has many elected officials on it, and so it's difficult to find the time for them to meet and also dialogue and Q&A around over. So thank you for your patience with me, and thank you to Robin and Michael and Allison and Julie for handling.
Yeah, so we're moving right along. So the next project is actually an assignment and assumption of the Middle Road.
Middle Road Properties LLC, a local real estate development company, constructed a 32,500 square foot medical campus in the town of Henrietta, and this is leased to Rochester General Hospital. In July 2016, the project was approved for a lease plus property tax abatement. The applicant is now requesting approval to assume the lease plus property tax abatement.
Any questions? This is an assignment and assumption, and the applicant is requesting approval to assume the lease plus property tax abatement. Questions? I'll ask for a motion then for Middle Road property.
So moved.
Moved by Jay, seconded by Brett. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Abstain, sorry. There was an opposition and a abstention. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. Okay, next.
Unifor Manufacturing LLC is a pharmaceutical contract manufacturer headquartered in France with 6 manufacturing facilities throughout the world. The Monroe County facility is the company's only U.S. manufacturing site. Unifor produces sterile, pre-measured, single-use dosage products at the town of Henrietta facility. The company is undertaking a phased expansion over 5 years. In June of 2019, the applicant was approved for the Enhanced Jobs Plus pilot program, sales tax and mortgage reporting tax exemptions. In December 2020, the applicant was approved for an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2021. The applicant is now requesting an additional increase in project costs of $3,345,000 and an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30th, 2023 due to changes from the overall construction plans, facility design, and future footprint strategy requiring incremental project spending. The total project cost is now $26,286,273. The new sales tax exemption benefit amount is not to exceed $431,284.
Thank you, Anna. Is Connie Selman with us, or will we call her? No. In your position?
I'm the CFO.
Okay. So, do you have anything you'd like to elaborate on?
I'll tell you a little bit about the reason for what the extension we're asking for. The original plan was to build out the back of that facility so that we could put in some pretty unique equipment that manufactures, fills, packages single-dose sterile medication. And so we've done 2 lines to date, and that was the original plan. But we did a build-out that included room for a third, what's called a Romalog. That's the equipment that's used along with the packaging. And so this money would complete the space for the 3rd line.
And there's more detail on the breakdown of the increased
Yeah, the
dollars.
building,
It's on page 56 in our packets, but it looks like it's materials, furniture, and fixtures, and that's the total primarily.
yeah, it's really the built-in area that is there. So we just need to complete the suite itself. This equipment requires a bit of a conveyor to get from where the manufacturing and the mixing takes place into the packaging components. So that's really what the money is specifically for, and some cooling of meds that require.
Okay.
So tell us the best news, how many people have we put to work?
Well, we're trying to hire as much as we can, actually. We're struggling. I believe at the time the original application was done, it was about 250. We are at 300 today. We cannot keep up with our needs though. So if you have people that are hourly or indirect that are looking for an interesting position, you can send them over.
That's
great.
That's great.
Okay. So I will ask with further questions. I'll ask for a motion to approve an increase in project costs and an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30, 2023. Moved by Joe, seconded by Rhett. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Abstaining. And exclude one exception. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate all that you're doing and continue. Good luck to you. All right, the next modification is Life Cycle North American Hub.
Life Cycle North American Hub, Inc. is constructing a new manufacturing operation in the town of Greece to process the black mass concentrate, which is an intermediate product generated from the recycling of lithium-ion batteries. In December of 2021, the applicant was approved for a sales tax exemption, and in January 2022, the applicant was approved for a custom 15-year pilot agreement that includes a fixed project value not to exceed $250 million and an increase to the sales tax exemption. The applicant is now requesting a mortgage reporting tax exemption that was not previously considered. The new benefit to incentive ratio is 8-to-1.
Okay, and I believe we have Kevin McCullough from Barclay Damon LLC. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much again. My name is Kevin McCullough. I'm an attorney at Barclay Damon. I work out of our Syracuse office. This is a relatively simple request. At the time we filed the original application, it wasn't contemplated there would be any financing of any sort, but now there's an investor that wants to come in and secure part of his package with a mortgage. And so we modified our application to this board and requested a mortgage tax exemption not to exceed $510,000, if memory serves me correctly. I think I've got the number right. 525, okay, I was a little off. Yeah.
Questions by any board members, Jay?
Quick question. So in the application, your original was 55 million. Now it looks like someone's coming in at 70 million. So am I reading that right?
55 million, the project was, as amended, I think was over 500 million, 523, 532.
No, I'm just talking about
So
financing.
the financing that they list in the original column of 55 is cut off, it's non-bank financing. So when the original application was submitted, they did not contemplate any conventional financing that would be secured by a mortgage. And now up to 70 million is going to be
A mortgage.
a loan to be secured by a mortgage. But the balance, the 463 is coming in directly.
Okay. So because of the change in financing, you're now requesting additional benefits, right?
That's correct.
The mortgage.
The mortgage.
Mortgage tax exemption.
Which was not previously.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve the mortgage recording tax exemption. Moved by Brett. Second. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
One, two, three, four. Okay, 4 ayes. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the last modification is SBS Medical Supply.
SPS Medical Supply Corp. is a manufacturer of biological indicators, chemical indicators, and other products used to monitor sterilization medical equipment. The company is constructing a 100,000 square foot addition to their 38,000 square foot facility in the town of Henrietta. The project was December of 2018 for the enhanced Jobs Plus property tax abatement, as well as sales tax exemption on construction materials and furnishings. In June 2020 and in July 2021, the project was approved for an extension of the sales tax exemption. The applicant is now seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30th, 2023, as the project has experienced delays due to COVID.
Thanks, Lonnie. Don't believe we have anyone here who should address it. So I will ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through June 30, 2023. Moved by Joe, seconded by Rhett. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor, Lisa is abstaining. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, thank you. All right, Chair Berg is going to give the compliance committee report. We did meet on August 16th, and Robin went through the unpaid pilot payments report for us. And you want to give it a quick summary on that, Robin, for the full board?
Yeah, just that, we're monitoring a bunch of projects and have not made pilot payments. One we did make some sort of payment towards the total amount that they owe. This morning we found out, and then everyone else we have sent additional letters to, and we will continue to monitor and update the board in 2 months.
We also reviewed the job compliance. That is the jobs that the project owners are committed to creating over the course of the project pilot. And we want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, there are 2 projects that are requesting job creation waivers for 2021. The committee had a very lengthy discussion about them and is recommending the waivers be granted. However, we will be, with one of them in particular, staff will entertain discussions with the municipality and the landlord
About how these are for 2021.
Correct.
Okay, any questions on that? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to grant a waiver to the following projects as identified by project code, 10001A and 18062M. Motion. Moved by Troy, seconded by Lisa. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we whipped right through all of that. Now, our executive director has a couple of discussion items.
Thank you, I do. Thank you, Anne. And once again, thanks for your patience in my tardiness today. Without further ado, would like to introduce Corinne Berry and Jerry Hunt from the Multi-Craft Apprenticeship Preparation Program. But I suppose I shouldn't have said without further ado, because I have one item one letter that I would like to read, actually. Grant Malone, I emailed this to all this morning. Grant Malone, the district manager and the president of the Rochester Building and Trades Council, sent a support letter to be considered by the board in advance of this presentation here today. The letter reads, the Rochester Building and Construction Trades Council supports the MAP program and appreciates the opportunities they offer to the people in our community that want and need to benefit in a career in the unionized construction industry. Our RBTC will always advocate and support any requests for funding to enhance this program and ensure it can continue the great work they do. Along with this commitment, the RBTC will require from the MAP program full disclosure and transparency to our council in writing on a quarterly basis to show all expenditures for our councils to review. And with that, I would love to welcome Kareem and Jerry up to the podium to present to the board their request for funding. This is in alignment with the Workforce Development Fund that the COMIDA board has created in collaboration with County Executive Fellow.
So, well, in terms of sequence here, we were not able to have your full presentation the last time you were here, so we appreciate your patience with us. Should we let them go through the proposal and then address the questions that were raised and answers that were raised by the board and us?
I think that makes sense in terms of
Process.
process, right?
Because there were a bunch of questions, so that we'll turn it over.
Let's address the questions.
Because you haven't had the chance of presenting the proposal. So I'm just, if you would like to have that opportunity,
Has everyone received the packets?
we've all received and reviewed the material.
So I don't really need to read this because I know the program very well. MAP stands for the Multi-Craft Apprenticeship Preparation Program. Basically what we are is a pre-apprenticeship for the union construction building trades. I myself am a union electrician, went through the apprenticeship, journeyed out, and have been working in the field for quite some time, and was asked to actually take over MAP in 2017 by the then president of the building trades, who was David Young. We are focused on giving folks an opportunity that prior to that would not have necessarily had an opportunity within the trades. We all know that it's a very closed industry, and there was a time of, I'd say, nepotism that went on, which has kind of since gone away with the Department of Labor new regulations that come out, and we are a direct entry through the Department of Labor. That said, we are focused on giving folks that opportunity to enter into the trades, people who would not have known about the trades, to get that door and that opportunity to at least fail, but to have an opportunity to get into a decent paying job, get into a career path. I cannot speak enough about the benefits that you receive as a union construction worker. I'm talking retirement, annuity, health benefits. It's the absolute best. If you are going to go into construction, union is definitely the way to go, but everyone doesn't have that opportunity, or didn't have that opportunity. But we are affording folks that. There are two phases to MAP. You have Project Phoenix and you have MAP itself, right? So Project Phoenix is basically our filter, if you will, into MAP. Project Phoenix runs from June until the end of the year. That gives us a chance to see whether or not folks will actually be able to make it within the trades. So you have June, which are the hotter months, the summertime, and that lets us see whether or not folks are actually going to come to work. If you're able to work in the heat, go fishing instead of coming to work, that sort of thing. Then we transition into the winter months, where now we get to see whether or not you're going to take into account for the weather. Are you going to leave on time?
So basically, Project Phoenix is to mimic a typical construction day. 7 to 3:30, we break at 9:30, break is over at 9:45, we take lunch at 12, lunch is over at 12:30, we clean up at 3:10, we're out of here by 3:30. Typical construction day. And to see if people are able to actually keep that schedule, because that's what it's gonna take in order for you to succeed in the trade. If you make it through that process, and everyone doesn't make it, you go into the MAP phase. MAP is from January to the end of April. We ended at April because that's typically when the construction trades pick up, like start taking on apprentices. That's when the weather breaks, so to speak, right? So we are then set to have folks, we give them first aid, CPR, OSHA, we take tours of the training facilities. I have good relationships with most of the trades, and we go in and see what you're actually going to be doing. You get to meet the training coordinators. It's definite personal FaceTime. Folks get to know you. It's a warm welcome into the trades. From there, again, it's your career path. Then we hand them over to the trades, and like any other apprentice, it is on the trades to basically nurture and bring them up throughout that trade. Yeah, that's kind of what we do. Small. Yeah, elevator speech.
Thank you for that. If you look at your packet, which was our page 169, of potential funding, it's $160,000. You have funds that have already been, have these been committed, like the Ralph Wilson Foundation?
No, everything is kind of.
Those are potential.
It's
Oh,
all
that's what I
anticipated.
wanted to confirm. And your request of us is 400,000.
We do have strong commitments from everyone that's on there, but you know, it's one thing to have a press conference that you got a grant, but it's another thing to actually go through the process of accessing the grant. So for example, Ralph Wilson is committed, but then we're going through their processes to actually pull that down. They actually committed for 3 years. At 600, 200 years for 3 years, which is decent. And then we also have ESL, which recently was finalized, and they're matching what Ralph Wilson is doing. They supported us previously as well.
So they gave you more than you were asking for?
No.
Oh, I thought you said they doubled it, because the ESL was 50.
Right, that was what we
And
were
Ralph
hoping.
was, what?
259.
Right, that's what we were hoping for, but having worked with both entities before, they're actually investing in what we're doing.
To help us increase capacity.
So, City of Rochester, County of Monroe, Senator Gillibrand, these are all pending at this point. And that's $1 million from Senator.
Okay.
They're hopeful for very big numbers.
What you ask for and what you get are not necessarily the same.
Well, right.
One thing that,
No
point out,
point under that asking, right?
to point out the Gillibrand piece, based on work that's projected to come to the city, government agencies, if you will, want to see minority participation for real. But they also understand that you need to have a funnel. You have to fill the funnel in order to wind up with a decent amount of people. That's in advance. It has to be in advance. You can't turn around 100 people tomorrow. So they want to, Gillibrand team wants to fill the funnel. So by the time, for example, the Inner Loop project comes, you're going to have participation because so many people would have had an opportunity to get in and also gain some skills by the time it starts. So that's the rationale behind that number. And that number was given to us by that camp. That's what they're looking for. Because we actually pay our participants a stipend, so that costs money. And they're willing to do that.
So how many jobs are created by, say, the 400,000 that you're?
Well, we pay
That's
participants
what
$12.
Monroe County, is that the math measurables that you gave us a spreadsheet on that?
Right. The capacity that we have is strictly contingent on the dollars that we have, particularly because we have, stipends that so in order to increase the capacity, you have to increase that. We actually wanted to increase the pay. $12 an hour is what we're continuing to pay, knowing that you can go to Burger King and make $15 and $16. So we have to also try to do battle against that, convincing people that this is actually an opportunity. And you kind of take a hit now. It is actually more money if you look at it. Because $15 an hour is going to be taxed. $12 an hour is a stipend, untaxed. So once you take away around that 30% that taxes they code, you actually end up with more money with the stipend, which is why, again, if we increase that, we go from $480 to $600 a week. That's a huge increase, especially if we start expanding from the 15 to 25 that we try to accumulate from 25 to 50, which we're looking to do because of the need for a workforce coming down the pipe. So you multiply that number times 600 every week, that's a huge payroll. And again, we are a non-for-profit, so it's not like we have money coming in from every direction. We have to wait for grant periods to come in, and that's a struggle for us. That's the reason why the budget has increased. We don't have staff. The staff that you see are the 2 people before you. So all the accounting and bookkeeping and all those things are done by us. The marketing, everything that you see is done by us. So we don't have the staffing that everyone else has. We don't have the staffing of Urban League or anything like that. It's 2 people that's making this thing work. So we need more staff. We need a permanent grant writer. We need a permanent administrative manager. We need those positions in order to actually grow the capacity that we're trying to hit, that trades actually need coming down the pipe, because as it stands right now, with all the participation goals, the trades can't meet that. They don't have the numbers for that. We are helping them get those numbers. That's the reason why Grant has supported what we do. That's why the trades support what we do, because we are helping them. They are the end users of everything that the product that we put out, they benefit from that. It's no benefit to us whatsoever. I just know that when you look around Rochester and you see the violence that's happening, the abject poverty that's going on, that's because people don't work. People don't have jobs. People don't have opportunities to do something else. I'm not going to go into the school board so much, but people are coming out of high school unable to read. That's a problem. People are coming out of high school incapable of doing basic math. That's a problem. They're being set up to fail. And by basic, we're talking about multiplication.
Yeah,
In many cases.
very basic math. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, single digit, nothing major. That's the problem. So we have to work through a lot of those processes to get folks up to speed, to get rid of the stigma that some of the trades have, to get them like, listen, this is a definite opportunity for you. You can take it. I went through it. I know what it's like. Believe me, I get it. It's not always like hugs and kisses. It's not that. The trades are not a water cooler type of job. You have to have thick skin. You have to work with elements. And there's a lot of the old guard that's there with the good old boys club that want to keep it just that. Some of them are retiring and, no pun intended, but dying off. And the new blood is coming in and they don't necessarily have that same mentality. And those are the folks who we are really working with to try to increase the diversity of the trades.
Do you expect the money that you're requesting from all these foundations and so on, that the budgeted sort of headcount would be then adjusted, like when this the math measurables which you gave us, which we appreciate. This says that in 2022 there would be 20 from the Phoenix project and 13 graduated, 13 on track to graduate. And then you actually identify what kinds of positions. So
we've actually already placed 2 people out of Project Phoenix into the IBEW. So when we see people coming in, again, Project Phoenix is basically a filter for us. So we're looking to see who's ready, who has the work ethic to actually go out and make it. some trades have assessments, if you will. So you have to pass a test in order to get in. The IBEW is one of those trades. Again, we have problems with basic academics. So everyone is not going to go into different trades, so to speak, right? So these two applicants came in, they were ready, they had vehicles. Our criteria is 18 to 40, high school diploma or equivalent, valid driver's license, vehicle, you have to be able to pass the drug screen. It's nothing major, that's basically what the trades require. So we're just getting you up to speed, getting you used to what you're going to have to go through, at least for 4 to 5 years in your apprenticeship. These guys actually came in, they had some electrical experience already, they had vehicles, they had valid driver's license, they were able to pass drug screens, we got them OSHA, first aid CPR, and handed the IBEW a ready-made product.
If I may interject, just to flesh out Ann's question a little bit more, and I don't mean to speak for you, Ann, but the numbers, so I think what Ann was getting at was the numbers are, 13 graduates, which isn't a huge number projected for 2022, and you're requesting $400,000 of COMIDA for capacity building. So would the goal be to grow the
Oh,
number of
absolutely.
program
That's what we also need another building. So the whole thing is to get capacity. You are all welcome to come down to the facility to take a peek. We have an open door policy. I'm not trying to hide anything. Just come down and see for yourself what we do. We welcome that. I guarantee if you came down to see what we do, you would tell us the 400,000 is not enough. We need to give you more. We're gonna go back to the table and get you some more money. Because we do what we do with nothing. We're trying to build capacity. So when folks go out, we try to bring folks back in, if money allows. Because again, we pay our participants and there's overhead. We have a lot of things. We have tools, tools that you actually use on the job site. We have good stuff, tools that, getting the participants ready to do the jobs that they want to do. That stuff costs. We don't have a whole bunch of sponsorships, anything like that. We are scratching and gouging our way to get this folks career chances. So yeah, we would love to increase the amount of people, but we need the finances to do that.
Do you have, where do you go out and recruit the people to enter Project Phoenix?
In the neighborhoods. We go where no man has gone before, right? We are out in the neighborhoods. I ask people all the time, when I get asked that question, I ask them, have you ever smoked marijuana? I don't need an answer. And they will say yay or nay. And I ask, have you ever seen an ad for marijuana? And they'll say no. But you know where to go get the good stuff. It's the same thing. People know. Word on the street, word of mouth is the best form of advertising. I think we've all been sentenced to that. People know. We've had ads on the buses and everything. We got a huge response for that. But people hear about, well, you're actually going to work. It's not the circle of what we call poverty pyramid. We don't do that. After you leave MAP, you're on to a career path. It's not from this program, you go to that program, that's from that program, you go to that program. After MAP, you go into a career path. That takes away, that actually addresses the poverty that we have in Rochester. Because
no, I think that's good. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, are you, how many people do you think you could recruit in well, I guess 22 is already baked in, but for 23, or actually 22 you start in September, right?
Yes. So we start in June.
June, okay. So the next Phoenix, Project Phoenix would be in 23.
Correct.
Right, so you had 22 people?
We still bring people into Project Phoenix up until around mid-September, because I can still kind of get a gauge of it between that time. So we try to backfill slots, and we have people that we can't bring in because we don't have the money to pay them. That's not what our budget.
So tell me how many of those were this year? Like if you had more money, how many people could you have put in through the program? That
probably about 35.
35.
About 35. Project Phoenix, we're not as strict with the license and vehicle because I understand people don't necessarily know all these things coming up front and know what it's gonna take to get you there, which is why we also pay them. So if you had tickets that you need to get your license straight, that, the money that you get through Project Phoenix, use that to take care of your issues. So by the time it's time for MAP, you have your license straightened out, we have your vehicle, we have all these things in order, so you will be successful in the trips. At the end of MAP, we actually give them money for clothes and money for tools. So we set you up completely for success. There's no reason for you to fail other than you.
Go ahead. So, to go along with Jay's question, you are a graduate of the program, correct?
Say
The MAP program?
Am I a graduate?
Of the MAP program?
No,
Oh, I thought you said, okay.
no.
All right.
I went through, I'm an electrician.
No,
IBW, I went through their apprenticeship.
Okay. Scratch that. So you say you go into the neighborhoods. One of the things that I've learned is that the most successful people that you're looking for come from referrals from people that have already been there. Are you using the graduates of the MAP program to help you identify the pockets that are going to get you the best success?
Oh, absolutely. The people who go through our program appreciate what was done, and we preach accountability to the community. So do for you what we do for someone else, what we did for you. We have, I think, 3 or 4 people in this current cohort that were referred from alumni. So they always, again, you can't say what you don't know. So now that these folks know, the word's starting to spread out more and more, but we have to get those stories out there. So yes.
Could you be doing more with these people that have successfully gone through the program as far as referring others? Could you be doing more with that group?
Yeah, they do help with that, but that's more of a marketing on our side. All right, so I can't force them to go out and knock on doors or anything. I can't force them to do that. What they do is on their social media pages, they share the stuff that we put out, they share our content. They do that, and that's upon request as well. So they do it that way. Other than that, we have no means to actually force them to knock on doors or say anything. That's up to them at that point.
I would also say one of the bigger and most impactful areas is when they go home, if they're still living in the so-called hood, neighbors see them come home dirty and work here in the truck. The children, we're talking about trying to right a major ship, you see, so you're looking at the children, the impact visually on them in the minds of the people. But we actually recruit in areas that I otherwise would, be walking up and down the street, but forces me to go. For example, we have a young lady right now living above a corner store, directly in the hood, single worker, no vehicle, terrible credit. These are the people that are going to make an impact on the depth of poverty, not someone, like cherry picking. So that situation, I don't like. So there are obviously requirements for the program, and obviously going to be requirements in the apprenticeship as well. She's going to need a little extra attention, not babysat, because we don't prepare people to be babysat. Once you're released from MAP, you're expected to perform as trained. The training coordinators know that they're not coddled. But when you're coming from the dire straits of the folks that we work with, and you need to go into the school situation, how they were prepared. There's a lot of work that has to be done. But if you actually come home from work or you're going to work, that's huge in and of itself. We worked on jobs in Project Phoenix, and there's no movement in the neighborhood at all until afternoon. Right, we were in the middle of the intersection, and we were just filming the neighborhood. Everyone's still sleeping. Folks aren't working. See, but they see this group of young brothers and sisters actually working in full construction gear, sweating, working. That in and of itself is a good contribution.
Getting back to the referrals that we're talking about, just a suggestion, you probably can expect, you're right, them to knock on doors and do the work that you're doing. That's probably the hardest work that there is, to identify successful candidates. But perhaps you could ask them, as they complete the program, perhaps you could ask them, can you give me the names of 5 people or 10 people that you think may enjoy this path?
Oh, that happens, that's ongoing. Stuff like, that's ongoing. The thing is, they know, it's like, what you're expecting of us, my friend's not prepared to do that. So they know, we have an exercise that we go through day 1, that's called anchors and propellers. Right, so okay, let me explain that part. The whole thing is you consider yourself to be a vessel, you're a boat, right? And you have a destination. And everyone that you know is either going to propel you forward or hold you back. And what we do is we make them write down a physical list of all their contacts in their respective categories. So now that you have this physical list that you're looking at, you have identified in your circle who's holding you back and who's actually pushing you forward. And you have to decide at that point how fast you want to get where you have to go. You've identified them. So if you still allow them to hold you back, that's on you at that point. But we've made you identify who's who in that situation. That helps a lot, and we often visit that list. I don't need to see it because that's your personal stuff, but when's the last time you've addressed your list? And every participant has slowly knocked off their anchors, and those are the ones that really do well, because they're like, you know what, you're right, because they never looked at those people in that light. So they start to identify who's who and realize you don't really have as many friends as you think. And okay, these folks, okay, we can go this direction with them. And they do recommend those folks. Again, we have about 4 people in this current cohort that were recommended by other folks.
I was wondering if we asked a bunch of questions, carry over from our last meeting, and Kareem and Jerry have responded to those questions, and you've all received a copy of those answers from Anna, who's distributed. Right, thank you very much. So we had asked questions about organizationally, board of directors, their operating structure, what their budget was, what the program revenue would be, and so on, working outside of Monroe County. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to read those questions and the answers. So I'm just trying to think, assuming that you all have, why don't we just go maybe more to
I got a couple.
Sure.
So is this funding going forward, actually going forward, or is there debt in this budget that you have to bridge before going forward? And how much debt are we looking at?
We don't really have any debt, so to speak. We do owe back money for benefits, but that's on us, and we have unrestricted funds that we'd be able to use that for. This money specifically is going towards the participants in the program itself.
So estimate the amount of money owed to those benefits?
I'd have to check the funds on it.
May 2021, a good date to look at forward.
I'd have to check the funds on it.
Okay. And the next one, with Grant's letter this morning, are you going to be willing and form and work with the building trades on a entity to oversee and be accountable to the money, not only here in Monroe County, but the whole state? And I want to ask another, being that you're affiliated with Albany and Rochester, can you break down the amount of hours spent in Rochester and the amount of hours spent in Albany right now?
The amount of hours spent in Albany and Rochester, that varies. I have to go when I need it, and I go there. That's pretty much it. As far as,
would be here in Rochester.
yeah, that's strictly,
Not Albany.
we have money, the money that we get are like earmarked for certain spots. Like we have money that we got from, what were the other for Business for Good, National Grid, the City of Albany, the County of Albany, the Albany Land Bank. All those dollars are earmarked for Albany. So the money that's earmarked for Albany stays in Albany. The money that's earmarked for Rochester stays in Rochester. It's really simple like that. But I really, and I'm open to any transparency that needs to be there, but it really boggles me that you would want, because actually the building trades have been giving us a dime since 2019. Now, the support of the building trades, okay, because that's who we support. I don't have any issue with that, but to want me to be beholden to you for money that you're not giving me is a little questionable. I don't understand where you feel the right to have that. Again, transparency is, we have non-for-profit, it's a 501c3, it's public record. But to have a quote-unquote entity sit on our shoulders is a bit much. We are not doing anything.
But I think you're saying the measurables for the funds that would be requested from Monroe County.
That's not what I heard.
Would be, I would come back to it, but you would separate those monies.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Taking Rochester, Monroe County.
I'm talking about the addressing of
Your
monies
action
outside of Monroe County.
Your action items, in other words, the people, the measurables that you say you've achieved in Monroe County would tie directly to the 400,000.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Well, being that the application has in our packet that the MAP program has been endorsed by the building trades does not coincide with the letter Mr. Malone sent. I need to know if grants ask is going to be something you are going to do, as the building trades is listed as endorsed this. And I don't think it's fully been that endorsed. There's a big difference here of support and backing and endorsing. And the application that we have in front of us lists endorsement, which is not what's said in that letter and that email that you read off. So I am very concerned, as you are showing concern, of this is not, if you're going to partner, we should be at the table. And right now, you, on your request in 2019, RCCI, the entity that was involved bringing this all together, was terminated on your request. Now, that's not true that the building trades didn't give you money up to 2019. In 2019, we actually supported with a $10,000 contribution to make you whole, to sever the relationship with the building trades.
So you did that.
Now I'm asking if you are going to
That was
tie
under
this.
RCCI. That's
I'm
not
finished,
under
Madam Chair.
MAP.
I'm done, Madam Chair. Thank you.
That was done,
He's trying to answer your question.
that was done under RCCI.
Correct. That
The
was the
board-
entity that was overseeing the money
Right.
being spent.
But I was a executive director under RCCI. I did not have a board vote. So if the board voted to sever, yes, I did request that because there was a lot of discrepancies that were going on. So yes, I did request that. But again, you don't always get what you request. So there had to be a consensus amongst the board members to, yeah, Kareem has a point, let's sever this connection. That was a board vote. That, I can't control that. If the board agreed, the board agreed.
Who was sitting on the board at that time?
David Young, Debbie Lee, Aaron Hilger, Joe Leone, Dan Kuntz, Martha, and Grant.
Associated with what entities?
Those are his, were the board members.
RCCI.
RCCI.
I just don't see the relevancy of this, but, okay. Grant was the president of the building trades at the time. Aaron was the executive director of Robex. Joe Leone was Unicon. Martha was a contractor with the painters. Dan Kuntz, treasurer and business manager of the laborers. Debbie Lee, the president of CBTU. Dave Young, one of the founding members of RCCI.
Are there any other questions?
I just have one comment. I mean, Kareem, I just wanted to address Troy's. I think it would be, so I love the program. I think, yeah, the idea of giving opportunity to people who are not aware and getting diversity, not only in the trades, but just in society is something that is desperately needed. The ultimate goal is we want people coming out the other side, just like you did. We want people coming out of the apprenticeship and the journeyman program and becoming part of the union. Where I would see an advantage, not from an oversight role, but having the trades involved to help modify the program so that people can succeed. You know, if there's ways that your program has to adjust so that people can be successful in the apprenticeship and the journey, the journeyman program, I think that would be beneficial from what I see. I don't know if that's what you were thinking, Troy, but ultimately,
It's a partnership.
ultimately, I think the goal is to get people into the Phoenix program, out of the Phoenix program, into the trades, and then ultimately out of the trades.
There's,
Not out of the trades, I'm sorry.
out of their apprenticeship.
Yeah, yeah.
There will be no difference in us handing them an apprentice with somebody coming right off the street. They find a way to manage people who just come off the street. I don't see why there needs to be, well, why there is a special concern for people coming out of MAP. There's really no difference there. As far as managing the people, once they get into the apprenticeship, certain concessions are made for certain folks, and that's really, I don't want to push that button, but there's a lot of concessions made for certain folks that are not necessarily made for other folks.
I hope that's not the case. I look at it this way. I would love to see the MAP participants exit their, the apprenticeship and the journeyman program at a higher rate than the general public. And,
Us too.
and that's where I'm coming from. Because you're spending some time and effort. It's just, if there's things that can be done to adjust what you guys are doing to create a better success on the other end, that's where I'm.
We always invite trades in.
And I presume
Always.
that's where Troy's going, and I think that would always be, I view that as a good thing. If my ultimate customer is gonna get involved and say, hey, if you could tweak things, that'll help people come out the other side, I think that's a real positive.
And that's the real concern of the measurables. The 44 from 2017 to present, and the actual participants involved with the trades survey, and I'm going to double my number, is 12. So the amount of money going into this needs to have some more support for the program. And I get that we need to grow, and we're about this. This is a huge, huge program that needs a ton of support. What has me as the board member and the board member on building trades is the fact that we're connected but disconnected. And the history with RCCI and MAP has some concerns, and we, we're going to work through this, but right now, we're tied.
RCCI?
Right now, we're tied with you, and we want to partner with you, and there seems to be an ask that was discussed at last month's meeting about oversight. And the amount of money we're talking about here in oversight, that's all we're asking. And this is now the third time I've had a conversation where I'm getting pushback. And I don't really see why.
This is actually our first conversation. Remember the last time we had a meeting, we called executive session and didn't allow me to say anything. So this is actually our first conversation.
Well, the conversation yesterday didn't go very well, Kareem.
So the oversight from the IDA, of course, we have a contract, we have measurables, we work with you and our staff to get backup for any expenses. So as far as the IDA's funds go, we have a standard program, really, for lack of a better term, that we would put this funding request just like everything else. So we would certainly have the requisite oversight over, the funds that we would.
We never had an issue with any of that. All the private foundations that have given us money, they've asked an accounting for that money. And we give that accounting for the money.
Okay.
And we've never had an issue.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I'm going to call for the question because I think we're had some folks that are really stepping away. I'd ask for a motion to approve the $400,000 to the MAP project. Motion moved by Jay.
Just a quick question, 400,000 is for the for what time period?
It's for, to commence
2022.
But from your standpoint,
But 12 months into the, 12 months.
It's a 12-month
It's a
time
1
period.
year, right.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a second? Seconded by Brett. Any other questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I'm opposed to the no commitment to oversight and the building trades being listed as endorsing the entity nominee.
So we have, did you vote?
I did not. I'm listening to what they're saying, and I think the portion that I'm not hearing is from basically a little bit of what Troy is saying is, we're getting them ready, but I'm just not hearing that the trades are there. Like it's not a marriage. It doesn't sound cohesive to me. It just sounds, we're getting them ready and then we're putting them, but I don't hear that they're working as a team together or a seconds part.
On the measurables that they sent to us, of the 20 admitted to trainings program and 13 graduated in 2022, it identifies the pipe fitters, the electricians, the carpenters, the painters, the masons, iron workers, machinemen. I mean, so it's all tied to the trade.
It just doesn't sound like there's I don't know, I guess I understand with an internship, when you go into a company with an internship, you're kind of working towards a mutual goal, and I guess I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing the beginning of it, but not the end of it. I think it's a great program, and I think there's a lot of people out there that need this program. Can I say that? Because
I'll chime in and just add that your sister board, the Monroe County Industrial Development Corporation, has a commitment to MAP, $60,000 support that was approved last year. And this connection to the COMIDA's newly established Workforce Development Fund was initiated by County Executive Bello, who's very supportive of the MAP program and would like to see capacity building within the organization so that, to Green's point, can expand the numbers of enrolled participants.
To go along with that, it seems like when I'm hearing Troy saying, it's a win-win for the trades as well as the MAP program. And so to not hear that there's a cohesiveness for working together,
we need to work on that.
I think we would.
There actually is cohesiveness, there's only a few trades that are disgruntled. Everyone else, I spoke with a lot of the trades members yesterday, the day after, well, after the building trades meeting. There's only 1 or 2 trades that are actually disgruntled. I have the major support of the building trades. I can assure you of that.
And I had a phone call yesterday with Grant Malone, before he sent the support letter indicating that they do have full confidence in the MAP program and that the support letter was coming along with a statement, as I read earlier, requesting that those quarterly performance metrics be shared with RBTC and
That's
reviewed by them.
that's the reason
And
why
that
I
would all
go
be
to the
work
trade
contract
meeting
as well,
to
conditional
report on what
our
we do.
support.
So as you're speaking, and you feel that he is their full support.
Yes, speaking for his members and other stakeholders.
And we've even agreed to have a person from the building trades on our board. But to have an entity sit on our shoulders, that's a little bit different, especially RCCI, because that's the reason why we got away from them. So to try to, what I'm hearing is you're trying to put RCCI back on our backs.
No, I don't
No,
think
no,
so,
no.
absolutely
No.
not. That
Well,
was just a
that's-
question.
Let me clarify something, because you made comments earlier, and I want to clarify something, so that makes sense. So, I look at this, what we're gonna give you, so this money, when we invest money in anything, let's say it's my own money, let's say it's private money. Let's say the gentleman walks in and says, I want you to invest $400,000 in this. I want to know that that entity as a whole, wherever you're involved, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, I want to know you're doing the right thing. I want to know, I want financial accountability. I want to make, there's a few boxes, right? So I want financial accountability. I want to make sure that you're fiscally responsible in that, so last year, 4 people went in. And the 4 people that went out, right, 21?
Yeah, that's a little misunderstood because of Project Phoenix, that's like MAP numbers.
Let me finish my thought process. So out of those 4 people, how many are still working? Are they sticking with it? The year before, let's say there was 10 people. Are those people still working? So I don't look at it like we be on your back. I look at it as we just want to make sure that we're responsible to the taxpayer, we're responsible for the benefit of the county, we're responsible, we want to make sure that the trades, so that you feed the trades, it all works together, right? So I don't look at it like we'd be on your back, or we're putting anybody on your back. All I'm saying to you is, as a whole, wherever you are, and even if you got money from somewhere else. So if you say to me, hey, invest $400,000, and Rachel invested $300,000 with you a couple of years ago, even though her dough's got nothing to do with me, I want to know what you did with her dough and was it right and how did it go? And that's just basic, right? So that's just how my mind works. And I don't know if anybody else agrees or disagrees, but that's that's kind of where my head is.
Going to get back to what Rachel said, is that
All of these organizations that are relying on us for the workforce development fund money have an accountability responsibility, and we will be overseeing that. Wouldn't be different from the process that's already in place. So we make sure that we're all very comfortable where the money is going and so on.
Yeah, that's,
We
we
do
always
that
do
anyway.
that.
Yeah.
That's every grant.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you don't do that, I just wanted you to understand, we're not trying to put anything on
No,
your
I
back.
didn't.
It's just, we
That's
just want to make sure you get
misunderstood. I wasn't saying you. I
Yeah,
wasn't saying.
yeah,
I wasn't saying
we just
you.
want to make sure that everything, there's an understanding of where we're putting the money. That's
Yeah,
it.
we have to report back of what every dollar that we spend. No problem.
Quick question, you said someone from the trades, you're open to someone from the trades being on your board?
Yes,
Has that person been identified yet?
no, that came up yesterday. As a matter of fact.
Troy, do you?
We left the meeting yesterday, you were going to respond to me in writing that individual that was going to be participant, and I didn't get anything.
We
It's
haven't
pushed.
identified
I
who
can't.
what- That was yesterday. I don't know
So
who
that's,
we're gonna pick
it's an
from the board.
ongoing question and conversation on that.
And we can have a person on the board, that's not
And
a problem.
it can't be verbal, it's gotta be written.
And yesterday, following that council meeting, I did receive that phone call from Grant Malone, who is the president, indicating his full support for this proposal that we're considering here today. And he committed himself to putting something in writing, which he did, and I shared with the board. So as executive director, I feel confident that this is a good commitment for this organization. And as has been pointed out, we have the ability and the power to build a contract around the relationship such that there is oversight and transparency.
And if Kareem, if you're willing to, I mean, I hope from my fellow board members that you will put someone from the trades, because I think the issue is like, yeah, there's
the questions out there.
Yeah, but it's not a question, this isn't a statement. It's, if you are willing to do that, I hope maybe some of the others will reconsider. They can put someone from the trade so that there is an intertwining of the.
That's never been involved, and it wasn't brought up until yesterday.
You put that in writing, you respond, so you'll put it in writing, correct?
I think, just to clarify,
Yes, in the letter that Grant furnished today, he indicated that along with this commitment being the support letter, the Rochester Building and Construction Trades Council will require from the MAP program full disclosure and transparency to their council in writing on a quarterly basis to show all expenditures for the councils to review. So there's no requirement there necessarily for someone from the council to sit on the board. However, I think that would go part and parcel with quarterly transparency and reporting. It would take it a step further.
good
Proposition.
good governance.
Yes.
All right, any other questions? Go back to there was a motion on the table.
So I haven't heard it. Are you good with that? Are you good with that, what was just read?
Yes, Troy.
Okay, thank you. For the record, thank you.
Okay, so I'll call for the question again. To support the $400,000 grant to the MAP organization, and with all of the qualifiers and measurables and accountability like we do with all of our other projects. You have people that are carrying the flag and doing great things out there. And as long as we see the results, I think that's all we're saying. We respect what you're trying to do. So, all right.
Yeah, we do. We really, it's important because there are people out there that need somebody to have it. We just need to know that it's working. That's just the big thing. We need to know it's working.
Joe? Yes.
Yes.
Red?
Yeah.
Yes. I know, but we forgot.
It's the same motion.
It's the same response.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm an aye, and Jay is a yes, and Lisa is a yes, and Troy is.
Congratulations.
Troy is a
Until I see that letter, I'm a nay.
nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, and continued success. We appreciate your patience. Apologies, Joe. Okay, we still have items on the agenda. We do, and the next item is the Fringe Festival program request. You all have been given the request for the Fringe Festival at $2,000 a year. The chair was going to speak to us, but he has COVID and someone else is going to be on the speakerphone and they can't be. And so Erica B.
I can get her on the phone if there are specific questions.
I'm good with the information you just provided. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Dashboard was already covered. At this point, I'll make a motion to enter into executive. Okay, with you. Any other announcements? Okay. Motion to enter into an executive session under section 105B of the New York State Public Officers Law for the purpose of discussing current litigation. Your motion, moved by Brett, seconded by Lisa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And at this time, thank you.